Welcome to the Morning Edition Extra. Apologies for that. My microphone wasn't on, but now it is. So welcome to the Morning Edition Extra. Good morning, good Wednesday morning, and thank you for joining us at the digital desk for the Morning Edition Extra. Our top story: Fairbanks police are looking for a gunman after a dispute at the Safeway on College Road turned violent. Officers responded to the scene just after 10 o'clock Monday night. According to police, two men were fighting over a backpack near the store's entrance when one of them was shot. The suspect got away, but the police stress this does not appear to be a random attack.
We think that there's a high possibility that they knew each other. So it's an isolated incident. It isn't just a random robbery of the citizens.
The victim was taken to the hospital. Investigators are currently following leads but have not released any detailed information other than to say the suspect is likely still armed. Following the windstorms that battered Anchorage and the Mat-Su, some pilots are feeling grounded. We have some new video to show you. Take a look at this. A number of planes have been flipped over, and Robert Wood is one of those pilots. His plane had its wing crumpled. Now he blames a bad anchor point that came loose when the winds really picked up, saying that this could have been avoided had he asked for a replacement.
So I went over there and got to it and found the right wing had been folded forward because the anchor point for the tie down in the ground had failed and allowed it to come untied and lift that wing up and push it forward.
Wood says it thanks to some Samaritans that tied his plane back down that the damage wasn't worse. He was hoping to get back in the air this spring, but says that may now have to be put off. A hike on Flat Top quickly turned dangerous. In single-digit cold, two hikers found themselves stranded as daylight faded. According to a social media post from Anchorage Fire, on the way down towards Glen Alps, one hiker dropped the phone, went off trail to get it, and was injured. And again, this happened last night. With no safe way off the mountain, they called for help. As you can see in these photos, Anchorage firefighters along with state troopers and mountain rescue located the pair and got them to a hospital. Firefighters say to always bring extra gear and a way to communicate because a rescue can take longer than the hike itself. If you were affected by former Typhoon Halong and have not been able to apply for aid, it's not time to panic. The deadline to apply for disaster assistance has been extended until February 20th, 2026. State and FEMA officials are urging people to apply, even for minor damage, since claims can be updated. So far, more than $41 million has been distributed to 43 communities. Applications are available online or by phone, and an in-person assistance hub in Bethel is open through Friday. An Anchorage jury has convicted Adam Pringle of murder and manslaughter in the 2022 death of Keenan Wegner, who was 27 at the time. Prosecutors say Pringle, who is 43, and another man, 48-year-old Daniel Rosero, beat Wegner to death with an 8-pound sledgehammer, stood on his neck and chest, then placed his body in a plastic tote. His body was later found in a garage. Rosero is serving a 52-year prison sentence. Pringle faces up to 99 years in jail. His sentencing is scheduled for April. A Superior Court judge has sentenced 25-year-old Moses Blanchard with 60 years in prison, with 20 years suspended for the murder of 80-year-old Lincoln Bingo Peratrovich. Prosecutors say the attack followed inflammatory social media posts in March of 2023. Peratrovich was assaulted at his home in Klawak and later died from his injuries. One co-defendant has already been sentenced. The third is set to be sentenced in January of 2026. And House Republicans are set to vote today on one more proposal aimed at reducing health care costs, though it faces stiff odds with Republicans divided over the right approach since no deal has been made to extend enhanced subsidies under the Affordable Care Act. Insurance premiums are almost guaranteed to shoot up for millions of Americans covered under the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. House Republican leadership is opting not to vote on extending Affordable Care Act subsidies, which expire in 2 weeks. This has sparked division amongst conservatives, with some, such as Congressman Mike Lawler of New York, who called it political malpractice to not vote on extending subsidies with conservative reforms.
3/4 of people on Obamacare are in states Donald Trump won. So maybe, just maybe, everybody should look at this and say, how do we actually fix the healthcare system?
Democrats want a 3-year extension of the COVID-era subsidies to keep premium costs from doubling for some 20 million Americans, but Republicans argue the subsidies are too expensive and they don't want to pour more money into what they see as a broken system. Instead, the House will vote today on a separate plan, GOP-backed provisions aimed at reducing healthcare costs for all Americans. The Senate's top Republican acknowledging relief won't come before the subsidies expire. And millions of enrollees still do not know how much they will pay for their health care next year. Congress is in the last few workdays of the year with no viable deal to keep the health care costs down on January 1st. Washington correspondent Emma Wolfirst is on Capitol Hill, where reality is starting to set in.
Congressional leaders on both sides of the aisle remained adamant Tuesday their respective plans were the only way forward. Both sides of this debate, though, now facing the harsh mathematical reality of needing 218 votes in the House.
The Democratic solution is very simple: extend the ACA tax credits. That is the solution. There's 214 signatures on a discharge petition. And let me just talk about what the Republicans have done. Nothing, right?
The Democrats' plan for a 3-year extension of the Obamacare tax subsidies is a non-starter for Republicans. But right now, the GOP are also unable to corral enough members behind its plan. Some moderate Republicans say they need a vote on extending the subsidies to help their constituents.
I am pissed for the American people. This is absolute bullshit, and it's absurd that we are in a body with 435 members. Everybody has a responsibility to serve their district, to serve their constituents.
Two different small groups in Congress have bipartisan legislation to provide some extension to the subsidies with reforms. Neither leadership appears ready to support those plans, though, leaving a deal by the end of the week unlikely.
There's about a dozen members in the conference that are in these swing districts who are fighting hard to make sure that they reduce costs for all of their constituents. And many of them did want to vote on this Obamacare, COVID-era subsidy the Democrats created. We looked for a way to try to allow for that pressure release valve, and it just was not to be.
For nearly a decade, the Republican Party overall has called for an end to Obamacare, but has yet to put forward a fully comprehensive plan to replace it. Open enrollment is also now over for those who wanted coverage to start January 1st in just about 2 weeks. In Washington, Emma Wolfirst.
On Capitol Hill, a statue of a Virginia civil rights leader was unveiled, and it's replacing a Confederate general who fought to preserve slavery. Alaska's News Source's Washington correspondent Stetson Miller was there and tells us more about this new statue.
This is the new statue of Barbara Rose Johns, a woman who became a Virginia civil rights icon at just 16 years old when she fought against segregation at her school. And now she'll be watching over the halls of Congress. On Tuesday afternoon, House Speaker Mike Johnson, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, and other congressional leaders unveiled the latest addition to the Congressional Statue Collection.
Today we are here to honor one of America's true trailblazers, a woman who embodied the essence of the American spirit in her fight for liberty and justice and equal treatment under the law, the indomitable Barbara Rose Johns.
Johns was a Virginia civil rights leader who back in 1951 at age 16
The U.S. Senate has approved a 5-year extension of the Alaska Native Vietnam-era Veterans Land Allotment Program. The vote comes just days before the application window was set to close. As we spoke about yesterday morning, we did talk about the land allotment program and how the deadline was coming up on the 29th. But just days before that application window set to close, the extension now sends the measure to the president for signature. Senator Dan Sullivan called it a Christmas gift for American heroes. Senator Lisa Murkowski says the move helps thousands of eligible veterans and heirs finally receive land they are owed. "18 months after President Donald Trump promised to release the Epstein files on the campaign trail, the administration now has a legal deadline on Friday to do so. It comes after Congress passed a bill that forces the Department of Justice's hand. Molly Martinez picks up the story from Capitol Hill.
Senate Democrats say they're already gearing up for a battle in court should the Trump administration miss that Friday deadline to release the Epstein files.
We smell a rat. Why? The president campaigned on releasing the files.
It's been 11 months since President Donald Trump took office and 11 months since the Epstein files have remained sealed. Congress passed a bill to intervene, which legally forces their release by this Friday.
That bill set a specific deadline, December 19th, and it is a must. It's not a may, it's a must.
But that doesn't mean everything will come to light. I asked Democratic senators about their contingency plan.
How are you planning on addressing this if they do release it and it's so heavily redacted that there's nothing of substance in it?
We will know what they are concealing because of the survivors. Your question may be, how do you know that they're hiding stuff? The survivors will give us the knowledge we need to pursue the truth.
White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt has maintained that President Donald Trump has done nothing wrong, despite Democrats saying his name allegedly appears in the files nearly 1,500 times. On Capitol Hill, I'm Molly Martinez.
New surveillance video shows Nick Reiner the night he was arrested inside a gas station and later across the street as police cars pulled up and surrounded him. Police say he was taken into custody without incident. Now Nick Reiner is behind bars and facing first-degree murder charges in the killings of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner.
These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. No decision at this point has been made with respect to the death penalty.
This as new details are also emerging about Nick Reiner's movements in the hours before his parents' bodies were discovered with stab wounds inside their home in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. On Saturday night, the Reiners attended a Christmas party at the house of comedian Conan O'Brien, and that Rob and Nick had a loud argument. It's still unknown when the alleged knife attack occurred. Police have not given many details on the case or what led them to Nick Reiner. New jobs numbers show that the U.S. unemployment rate has risen to its highest rate in more than 4 years. Alaska's News Source's White House correspondent John Decker has the story.
The long-awaited jobs report by the Labor Department was delayed because of the federal government shutdown. But on Tuesday, a picture emerged of a labor market that is slowing down. Job gains of 64,000 in November exceeded Wall Street's expectations, but those gains were offset by the loss of 105,000 jobs in October. The U.S. economy has now shed jobs in 3 of the past 6 months. But Kevin Hassett, the president's top economic advisor, on Tuesday described a thriving U.S. economy.
The job number has stayed strong even though we're being really fiscally tight by reducing the deficit so much. That's a sign of the success of the whole portfolio of policies.
Meanwhile, the November unemployment rate rose to 4.6% from 4.4% in September. The U.S. unemployment rate is now at its highest level in more than 4 years.
We saw an uptick in the unemployment rate, but we also saw an uptick a few months in a row of labor force participation. So I think those government workers are out there looking for jobs.
Minority workers are also looking for jobs. The African American unemployment rate has now reached recession levels of 8.3%. The president's push to bring manufacturing back to America is not yet taking shape. The manufacturing sector lost 5,000 more jobs in November. It's the third straight month of declines for factory workers. For Local News Live at the White House, I'm John Decker.
Margins for farmers in the United States have always been tight. Convincing the next generation on family farms to take up the business is a tall task at times. This week on Listening to America, senior national correspondent Peter Zampa is speaking with two young men bringing the future to their farms.
Family farming is a crucial component of the overall U.S. agricultural picture. But in recent years, we've seen a decline in the number of those farms, with the average age of farmers increasing as economic challenges scare off younger generations. But for some, like Grady and Jet Johnson here in Holdridge, Nebraska,
corn looks amazing.
They're excited about their family farm's future and how they can shape it.
Technology befitting a special operations command center, squeezed into the cockpit of a good old tractor.
It'll drive itself, it's going to hold it in a straight line.
Jet is 17 years old, working at 37 Ag, a relatively new family business.
Ag has kind of forced the business models to become bigger and bigger.
But he and his 25-year-old brother are the family's sixth generation to farm this land, where soybeans and corn reign supreme.
It's just a legacy in general. It's something that my grandpa, he built up, and my dad, they've worked hard for it, and I want to take it over and know that they're in good hands.
Begging for rain, and now we've gotten rain and we're out of the fields. And
Jet and Grady have helped around the farm since they could walk. They spend every day here, mostly because they love it. But they now have the responsibility of maintaining the business, and the overhead cost for an operation like this, millions of dollars.
There's always places to spend money, especially in this ag economy, and it's deciding which ones are really worth the money and provide a return.
Grady says modernizing is not for show, but to improve the bottom line. Using new equipment to plant and spray chemicals eliminates waste.
The seed is in here, it's going to come out, it's going to get metered by this.
Over all of our acres, what we would call our pre-emerge herbicide and fertilizer pass, we were within 0.5% of what we were supposed to use. What would have been 10% 5 years ago.
Grady also created a separate revenue stream that started as a high school project.
We were growing a lot more corn on corn instead of rotating to beans every other year, and we had a lot of residue with that, and we were having a hard time tilling through it, planting through it the next year. So we found my project in high school was to try to remove not all of the residue, but half or 60% of the residue, and be able to have that as another revenue stream to feedlots.
Grady sees promise in automation and believes in 10 years he could have a system that plants, harvests, and sprays by itself. Jet says it'll never fully replace life on the farm that they know and love.
There's something that it makes it's satisfying to me, just all your hard work and getting reward of the highest yield. There's years you don't make any money, and sometimes it's just your pride and joy.
The Johnsons hope their innovative ways will lead to a success story here in Nebraska. And their ultimate plan? To pass this operation on to a 7th generation, ensuring that this family farm is in good hands for decades to come. I'm Peter Zampa, Listening to America.
A new study from Bankrate finds 52% of Americans expect to rely on Social Security benefits when they retire. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa looks at concerns over whether benefits will be cut and how people can build up other nest eggs.
This new survey really shows how important the Social Security program is for most Americans. 4 out of 5 currently retired individuals say they are reliant on this popular program to pay their necessary expenses. Mark Hamrick, Bankrate's senior economic analyst, says beyond that, a majority of Americans expect to be reliant on the program once they retire.
So what is the problem with all this? It is that the Social Security Trust Fund is facing depletion within the coming decade. And after that, if nothing is done between now and then, it will be facing a benefit cut of between 20 and 25%.
Hamrick says elected officials in Washington have allowed this situation to fester, and there are currently no plans to address it yet, which is why he says we all need to be more diligent about our retirement savings. He says the good news here is that we can control our 401k participation. We can control utilization of an individual retirement account.
What does it mean for a younger worker to take advantage of that employer match where, let's say, you are contributing 3 to 5% of your paycheck before taxes and the employer is matching that? That means that you are able, more than anyone else, to take advantage of the power of compounding over many decades.
Hamrick says if you are a more senior person looking at retirement sooner rather than later, you can still try to fully fund your retirement savings right now. It is not too late. He says you could also consider working longer, even if it's only part-time, to help out. He says you can also delay when you start collecting your Social Security. The longer you wait, the more generous the payment will be. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
A new poll says more than half of Americans surveyed plan to cut back on holiday gift spending this season. The poll by the NBC News Decision Desk, powered by SurveyMonkey, reports 55% of U.S. adults plan to reduce the amount spent on presents this year compared to 2024. 9% say they will fork over more, while just over a third say spending should be about the same. In a separate question, 43% said they plan to cut back on presents and on all Christmas spending this season. 57% say overall holiday expenditures will hold steady. Tis the season for holiday cards. You may have already received some from friends and family. In Louisiana, some are getting a holiday message in an unexpected place at the end of the checkout line. Tan Trong introduces us to a cashier who considers her customers family.
Great day at Rouse's.
At the Rouse's Market on Airline Drive in Metairie,
5471.
You'll find Norma Mulvihill working 5 days a week. Certain customers apparently know her schedule pretty well.
They'll come to my lane. They know I'm not here on Thursdays. They know I'm not here on Fridays.
Norma started in the bakery 7 years ago, where she built quite the reputation through popcorn.
I do 20 flavors of popcorn. They call me the popcorn popping queen because I love popping popcorn.
Norma also works at the registers, where hugs happen.
Yeah, well, you deserve a hug.
Thank you.
That's very kind of you.
The hugging gets more frequent during the holidays. For a third straight year, Norma is giving out Christmas cards and homemade ornaments to customers and coworkers.
I did 495 cards last year. This right here, when these are all gone, will be 1,133 cards that I have bought, signed, sealed, and gave away. 186.14.
Grocery shopping can be transactional, but not in Norma's lane. Not this time of year, as Maggie Garcia found out.
Before I forget, here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a Christmas card for me.
So nice. I love that.
When was the last time you got a Christmas card like that?
Like this? I've never been handed a Christmas card, only ever mailed.
Norma hands out so many cards and ornaments that she has to dip into a secondary stash she keeps nearby. Her gesture often catches people by surprise. At first, there's some confusion, and then gratitude.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Chantrell LaBranch was moved by Norma's generosity.
It was awesome. It really was. That's nice.
So why does Norma do this? It goes back to her mom.
What made me do with the Christmas cards was my mother. I lost my mother. This coming January be 10 years I lost my mother. And my mother used to always loved helping people. Mama used to loved helping people. And that's what I do.
Miss Norma's great. It's a great thing she's doing for the public. We need a little bit of kindness in the world, and she gives it out every day she's here.
Mark Ardwin is the store's director and says Norma's tradition is a reminder of the need for connection, even if between strangers.
It's that personal interaction, man. It's that one-on-one with somebody else that's out there in the world going through things just like you are.
I had one lady told me she was going to be my Kris Kringle. I made her cry. I gave her a Christmas card, and the day before I gave her the Christmas card, she just buried her mother. And she said, Miss Norma, she goes, you don't know how much this means to me. I'm like, why? And she said, I just buried my mama, and that just tore through me like my heart just melted with her. I've cried with my customers. I've laughed with my customers. You know, and they're going, Miss Norman, I love you so much. I said, I love you too. And it's just, you can tell right now, it's emotional. But they just love me.
It sounds like you love them too. We have to admit, Norma's knack of giving is contagious.
Somebody told me 'tis the season to give. I think it was you.
Yeah.
So this is from us to you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We had to keep it moving, though.
Oh, enjoy your holiday.
This Christmas cashier stays busy.
Cry with me here. I'll cry with you.
Oh my
you
God. Girl, you don't know how you brighten people's day.
In Metairie.
Have a blessed day.
Tan Trung, Fox 8 Local First.
Get ready to hit the slopes with some holiday cheer. Today at Alyeska is the annual Santa Skis free event. All you have to do is dress up as Santa, Mrs. Claus, Rudolph, or even an elf. We've even seen Hanukkah Harry, and you'll get a free lift ticket. They're also asking you to bring a new unwrapped gift for a kid in need. This is all in a day event from 10:30 to 5. Remember, your costume needs at least 3 festive pieces. Red ski gear alone won't cut it. Think cozy coats, beards, and bells. And on Friday in Anchorage, get ready to celebrate the shortest day of the year at the Winter Solstice Festival at Cuddy Park. You can ice skate to holiday music, warm up by a fire with hot chocolate, or enjoy horse-drawn wagon and dog sled rides. All the fun is free and goes from 5 to 8 p.m. Santa's reindeer will also be there, and if he's not too busy getting ready for his big day, you might even spot a jolly old elf named Santa. Do you have a holiday memory that warms your heart? A favorite song or maybe a story? Mason Carroll shows us how a children's book inspired a real-life adventure in Arizona, complete with a visit from Santa.
For almost 40 years, the Polar Express book has been a staple in many family Christmases. And for 25 years, the Grand Canyon Railway has been bringing this train ride to life.
This marks the 25th anniversary of our Polar Express train ride, which is an institution here in northern Arizona.
Sam Langner with Grand Canyon Railways says because they're licensed through Warner Brothers,
this is the genuine article here. This will get you a ride on the Polex.
It's just like the movie experience. Come right this way.
Can I see your ticket, please? Thank you. It's a 90-minute round-trip train ride. You get on, there's music on board, there's chef characters that sing and dance and get everyone involved.
And then riders get taken to the North Pole, where Santa is waiting. Langner says because they've been around for a quarter of a century, the memories made here are generational.
Folks that came here as kids are now bringing their children and their families to experience this. So it's something that really is institutional for a holiday experience each year.
Grand Canyon Railway is also the largest employer in Williams. So not only do they create holiday memories, but the extra tourism is good for the northern Arizona economy.
Grand Canyon Railway is that destination in Williams, Arizona. Route 66 town, great restaurants, great decorations, just a perfect place to escape the heat of Phoenix and enjoy the holidays.
That wraps up the Morning Edition Extra for this Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you again at noon for the latest in news, weather, and more. Have a good day.